Hey, Coach, how you doing? We're live on the air right now.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
No wonder you catch footballs. You see the size of his hands?
I know, man. Those are nice. Syracuse grad as well. Buffalo Bills wide receiver coach Rob Moore joining us. And Coach Moore, it's your first year on the Bills staff. How's that going for you thus far?
It's been awesome. It really has. It's been a tremendous opportunity, and I got a great bunch of guys to work with.
And, of course, you coming from the Syracuse staff, you were very familiar, after spending 4 years at Syracuse, very familiar with Coach Marrone. What makes you want to work for Doug Marrone?
Well, Coach Marrone gave me my first opportunity to coach, period. I was at Phoenix Junior College in Arizona and trying to get an opportunity to get into Division I football, and Coach Marrone gave me that opportunity.
Now, speaking of Arizona, you were a Cardinal with the big man down here, Derek Brown. How terrible was it to have to carry him every game, catch every ball, try to make up for his hands of stone?
Hey, let me tell you something. Big D's game speaks for itself, man. He had a great career. He was a great teammate. We didn't have the opportunity to win a lot of football games, but he played hard. And I think the one thing about him that people should know is that he really took pride in helping develop the younger players. He did a great job of that and teaching those guys how to be pros and really teaching them, what the game is all about.
What do you remember when you think back to your Syracuse days as a Hempstead native? We have a lot of New York sports fans here, 104.5 The Team, who are big Syracuse fans. And as you look back to your days as a 4-year starter at Syracuse, hold the records for receiving yards per game, career touchdowns, receptions. You were on the All-Century team. When you think back to that career, what pops into your mind?
It's amazing. When you go back and you trace back, and I look back at my high school days, and I remember Fox was going to do something because I was getting ready to go over 10,000 yards, and they sent copies of my high school film, and I remember watching my high school film, and I said, man, how in the world did I get a scholarship? Just looking at the film, there was nothing special about me at all. And, I thank God for George O'Leary seeing something in me, bringing me to Syracuse. But I think the thing that I remember the most about Syracuse is I got an opportunity to play for a great head coach, Dick McPherson. He really taught us how to be men and really prepared us for life after football. And that's something that I'll always be grateful for.
This man is saying this. Look at him. He could play today.
He could.
I mean, you're 6'5", huge calves, big hands, whatever, man.
We were joking that you were hitting on him earlier. Now it's happening.
I'm missing too many. I got too many screws and bolts running through.
Yeah, I hear you there, brother.
Body parts. I'm quite sure D could.
Smoke and mirrors. I tell them smoke and mirrors.
Absolutely.
But as a wide receiver coach now, like, you played a much more physical game as wide receiver than a lot of these guys have to. How much easier, or should I say, how much different is it to coach these guys through this NFL, where they'll get flags for half the stuff that people were stealing your wallet, and still you still had to go out and play and fight for the ball?
All right, well, without question, it's a different game. It's a different era. The passing game is certainly highlighted a lot more, especially with a lot of the great quarterbacks that you're trying to protect in this league. But it is different. I know in the preseason we've seen them throw a lot of flags for pass interference. In my opinion, I don't think that's something that's going to carry on throughout the course of the season. I think they'll let guys play a little bit more than they are right now. But I think with the concussions and a lot of those other things that have transpired over the course of the years, I think the game had to make that kind of change. And I do think it's for the betterment of the long-term effects of the guys that play this game.
Buffalo Bills wide receivers coach Rob Moore, Syracuse grad, New York native, and Coach Moore, the NFL has said they're going to keep calling that illegal contact for defensive backs against the wide receivers because of consistency. They want to be consistent. If they, in your opinion, if they lighten up, if they do lighten up during the season on those calls, is there then a frustration from the wide receiver core of, you guys are being inconsistent now with us? Does that become something in the forefront of your mind where it's hard to judge when they're going to call something and when they're not?
I think at the end of the day, you train these guys to expect not to get calls. I'd much rather have the 50-yard bomb than to have, the 5-yard, pass interference call. So you train them, and you train their mindsets to not expect the call, find a way to make the play, and we get the call, but it's not something we anticipate.
Now, you've had some time to work with Sammy Watkins. How special is this athlete?
He's a tremendously special athlete. I think the thing that gets overlooked about him is really his work ethic. He's a guy that he wants to be as good as he can be, and he'll put the work, he'll put the time, the study in, all the things that go along with trying to be a great player. He has those attributes, and now it's just a matter of him putting it all together.
When you look at his physical ability, is it rare to see someone straight out of college and be as good as he is at this point? I mean, is there a reason why? Obviously, there's a reason why the Bills moved up and grabbed this guy.
Well, I think, everyone knows when you talk about the draft, it all comes down to measurables. But I think along with his measurables, he has a track record in college of the numbers that he put up. This is a guy who's put the work in, who's proven that he's capable of doing these things. Now it's a matter of him doing it at this level.
The ribs, how much does that hurt a wide receiver when you have bruised ribs? He's out there today.
Well, I think anybody who's had it knows that it's tough.
I play tuba, so I have no idea. Let's just be real. That's why I'm asking. I mean,
he really did play tuba.
You guys are laughing. Well, let's just be honest about it.
Hey, I played the trumpet for 8 years. So
talk about Brass Brothers.
No.
I have some musical appreciation.
Man, we might have to have a duet later. I'm going to swing by the St. John Fisher College band hall and grab us some instruments.
From now on, when I pick on him for playing the tuba, he's like, Rob Moore played the tuba. That's all I'm going to hear from here on out.
I gave him an out.
Yeah.
Hey, DB, Rob Moore, Bills wide receiver coach, joining us, 104.5 The Team. Armen and Levack, Derek Brown, former NFL tight end, and you guys played together on the Cardinals, right?
Yes, we did for 2 years. 2 years, 99 and 2000.
When you think about playing with this guy, man, I mean, instantly you guys saw each other and talked for half an hour today.
Well, you know what? Because I hadn't seen him in a long time, and it's neat to see the transition. Rob, he's still involved with it, and I was asking questions. We talked about how the game it's different, it's changed. I'm not gonna say it's better, it's not worse, it's just different. We talk about, joke about the fact of here on the show we're talking about the only 14 days of practice. We did that in the first 2 weeks. We had 14 days of full contact practice. It's just different. But I think for the betterment of the players. Hold on a minute, I'm being thrown for a loop here, man. This is kind of crazy.
Why don't you tell everybody who just walked up to you dancing?
Who came up here is my man, Mr. Hall of Fame, Andre Reed.
Oh, man.
Haven't seen this dude in a long time.
I think I could be a quarterback with the receiver sitting around me right now.
See, this is the age. This is the age of the big whiteouts. Like, look. See,
175 years old.
In dog years, right? Exactly. But we joke about the fact of there's only 14 days of full contact practice, and you know what? It's just different. That's all. But these guys are bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. We discussed how you take the fastest 40 time of a DB and your fastest 40 time of a linebacker. They're not that far apart, man. And these are some big guys that can move and do damage when they do come at you.
Well, the 40 times that really changed are the 40 times of the D lineman.
There you go.
330 pounds running 4.7, which is incredible. Be able to move that kind of mass that quickly, and I think it's indicative of really how the game has changed.
Andre Reed sitting down. I'm sorry, Coach. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Andre Reed sitting down.
Oh, he's coach now. That's right, Coach.
He is coach.
Coach Rob Moore. Let me tell you something about Rob. When
Hall
I
of
first
Famer
saw
Andre Reed. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Take over on 104.5 The Team.
I first saw Rob when he was with the Jets, and sometimes you when you leave the field and hey, you did this, you did that, but you want to sit down and they want to go over what you did and what happened there. Every time we played the Jets, I want to see what number 85 was doing. That was Rob Moore, and this dude was just butter. He was just butter, man. And I'm telling you right now, this team is glad to have a guy like this coaching, especially these young receivers, to have a guy like that coaching.
Oh, that's a hell of a compliment coming from a Hall of Famer. I was on the receiving end of some of those beat downs. Trust me, it wasn't all fun, that's for sure. No, but that's for sure.
I tell you, they hit the jackpot with him because I think he's very professional what he does. He knows his stuff, and these guys are glad to have him coach them. And I'm looking forward to this year to seeing some good stuff, man. We got to get out of this drought, man. We got to get out of this 14-year no playoff drought. And these people in Buffalo, and especially here in Rochester, they come up into the camp. We're due. And I think this is the guy definitely to get him in the right direction, especially the receivers.
Yeah, I think it's a great blend of, he's an old school guy, but he understands new school. He understands. It's a little different, like we talked about earlier, but he understands it. He can bridge that gap.
And I think they look to him for that too. And that's how you grow. If you look at a guy, you look at what they've been through and how because he can give them knowledge that nobody else can.
Well, what you guys are talking about is talked about in the NBA all the time, specifically right now with the Knicks, bringing Derek Fisher. They don't talk about it as much in the NFL, but it's just as important in today's NFL as well. Coach Moore, do you feel like you can bond with those guys more because you're closer to their age?
I don't know that I can I bond with them as much as I can relate to them a little bit, being that I've come from college. I understand the change in the dynamics of how these guys think. Really the age of going outside and playing football and learning to play the game that way is over. These guys, it's all about, Madden and the video games and all those kind of things. So they think a little bit differently. I think the number one thing that I found is the love of the game is a little bit different. I think a lot of these guys love football. They like football, but I don't know if they love football the way we used to love it. And I think that's probably the biggest that's the biggest difference that I see is they like it. But, because of the things that it allows you to do and take care of your family and all those things, but I don't know how much they love it.
Why is that, guys? Is it because of social media? Is it because of all the other stuff that we have coming at us as a younger generation? What is that?
I can tell you right now, let me talk about that for a second. I think a friend of mine, a neighbor, who was good friends with actually a child psychologist, and we talk about our kids all the time, like they're just so different, they don't listen, this and the other. They're just this generation, if you notice, they're not connected to anything. Even if you take their phone away from them, right? You take your phone away from your kids, after 2 or 3 days, they don't care. To this day, I know every single pair of ugly expensive sunglasses I bought. All right. I'm sure each of you have some kind of old thing and you know exactly where it is because you bought it, you took care of it. It's just a disconnect there. They don't know it. They're not connected to anything. That might be
a combination of Derek just being cheap.
Hey,
those sunglasses were cheap. I'll tell you that right now.
Right now, I got some old stuff on right now. That dude's looking at me like this. Man, you came over to camp looking like that?
Whatever, man.
Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. Derek Brown, former New York Giant tight end, joining us, wide receiver coach Rob Moore. We have one more question for you, Coach Moore, before you leave. And Andre Reed, Hall of Famer, of course, former Buffalo Bills wide receiver. Real quick, Coach Moore, we're going to have Chris Hogan join us in a little bit, slot receiver. Can you tell us about the progress he's made at camp, what you've seen from him?
He's made tremendous progress. He's a guy that's pretty versatile, play in the slot. That's where he's primarily played for us, but he also can go outside. He'll make some contributions on special teams. And you're talking about a consummate pro, someone who brings it every single day in and day out. He's that guy that's been a great role model for some of the young guys in the way he's prepared and the way he's worked.
He's gone from a guy that may or may not make an NFL team to he's going to make a difference for the Bills this year, isn't he?
He's got a great opportunity, that's for sure.
Awesome. Coach Rob Moore, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
This was really cool. Thank you very much.